Alright, we are back, finally, with the second follow-up to the NES Satellite Experimentation Series. And I finally got my hands, well, I got my hands on a new TV, but that's probably a segment for another video, but it's a nice little Sansui with VHS operation. I like it a lot better than my other little silver one that I had. I feel like the colors are a lot brighter, and pops just a whole lot better. So I'm happy with it. But that's not why you're here. You're here because we are going to see if we can play all 4 players on Gauntlet II with one controller. And I'm going to use a Nintendo Satellite to do this. And one thing that I wanted to catch you all up on first was that you might recall from the last video, if you watched it, that I was having trouble even just natively connecting or like controlling players 3 and 4 from the NES Satellite. So there's 4 ports here. We've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. I was able to do players 1 and 2. Watch up here when I move the D-pad, you can see that I'm changing the character that I would be choosing for that player. If I move it to player number 2, you can see that reacts as well. I was having trouble with 3 and 4. Thought it was an issue with the relay that I had set up, which was pretty cobbled together, so I was not surprised, so I jumped to that conclusion. But I don't think that that was the actual issue, because now, as you can see, I'm able to switch these no problem. I ran into the issue again randomly, and what I ended up having to do is just power off the NES Satellite, power it back on, and it seemed to do the trick. So, that being said, we now know at least that I'm able to control players 3 and 4 from the same satellite. I may end up doing a follow-up 3 to this to try using my original experiment. The problem is I don't have enough transmitters or receivers to make it work. What I would have to do, what I figured out, is I would have to take the receivers apart, which I've done, because I can only receive the signal on first player. I've got one controller. What I'm doing is I'm plugging one controller into player 1 here, which means I'm transmitting a signal to the receiver only for player 1, which means player 1 is going to be coming out of this port here. So in order to relay everything, I need essentially 5 receivers. I need one transmitter plugged into player 1, and then another transmitter with 4 receivers plugged into each port, and then a fifth receiver, plugged into the actual system to receive the final signal. In which case, yeah, then I could theoretically play all 4 players on 2. Like, that's ridiculous. I might do it just to make sure that my logic is sound. But until then, what I'm going to try instead is I'm going to do this with the 4 score, which I did happen to score. So I've got a 4 score here, which is essentially the wired equivalent of the NES Satellite. It's got 2 or 4 player switches, 1, 2, 3, 4 player connectors, turbos, and then we plug it into both systems. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug this in instead of the receiver, and I'm going to take all 4 of my NES Satellite receivers and plug them into each of the ports here with one transmitter, and we're going to see if we can play all 4 characters on Gauntlet 2. Alright, I've got the experiment set up here. As you can see, I have a 4 score with 4 D-shelled NES Satellite receivers plugged in, all with player 1. Other thing I'm still curious about is if it sends player 1 and 2 controllers through each one, like how it splits the signal. I did some research on that. I might be able to link it in the description, because I thought it was interesting, but we'll get to that at a different point. So I've got all first player plugged in here. We've got the 4 score plugged in. I'm not doing any sleight of hand here. I'm not a good magician, as it were, anyway. And we've got our NES Satellite transmitting from right here. I've got my one controller plugged in here. So we're going to see if we can control all the characters. So, oh, alright. Looks like we're synced up. You can see all of those are changing at the same time. So let's see, who's going to be the safest to... I think they actually have friendly fire in this one, I'm not sure. We're going to pick the elf. Press the button. Alright, there we go, we're moving in sync. Alright, we are moving in unison. Let me adjust this here so you guys can see the full screen. Alright, we're going to get these. Alright, we've got 4. I don't know how. What's the best way to configure 4 people here? Let's see if we can get them into a square. There we go. Oh man. Ooh, this is interesting. It's like one of those puzzles where you can only move one thing at a time. Oh god. Oh boy. Oh man. Alright, here we go. Here we go. Alright, well we got a line of guys here. Let's see. Those are working out pretty good. Except for the... I feel like in this, maybe it's the Sega version that I just recently got of Gauntlet 4, there's friendly fire, which is kinda interesting. I think I can do the quad here, which is what I was trying. Yeah, there we go. The corner of power here. Get them, boys. Well, it's definitely possible. I think we've succeeded in our mission here, which was to see if we could control all 4 players on Gauntlet 2 at the same time. So the next... Ouch. Next thing we're going to have to do is see if I can replicate this with purely remote, which I think... I mean, I can at least do... There's no reason... If this works, there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to play at least 3 players fully remote with the relay as I had it set up before. But man... This is super challenging. Oh god, I gotta make all of them go to the exit. There we go. But hey, I think, oh look at that, the scores are pretty darn close too, which I was kind of surprised by. But yeah, this is, it's fun. It's one way to get through Gauntlet here. Oh boy, oh man, those walls are going to be tough. I have to try to get control all of these guys at the same time. Come through here. Alright, that wasn't terrible. Problem is I keep blocking my shots, my own shots. So I may not get friendly fire, but definitely making it more difficult because I'm not getting the same amount. You need to do like firing squad, get them all right next to each other. Definitely worse to do a multi-front attack. Because I can't control both at the same time. Where 2 independent players really come in handy here. Can't really play dual fronts with the same characters here. Oh, same controller. Yikes, this is tough. It's one of those things of the, is it just because you can doesn't mean you should? It would be pretty safe to say this is up there with that. Stay together. Alright, well, proved it was possible. I think next thing I'm going to try doing is I'm going to break out the remote relay again. I'm going to see if I can get that going. I at least want to make sure that I can do 3 players on the satellites, just to say that I did it. Because I could only get 2 before. If I could get 3, then we know it's just a simple matter of getting another receiver and deshelling it. So we're going to cut, and I'm going to set that up. We'll be back. Alright, so I've got the box of concealment set up. We've got 3 receivers plugged into 1, 2, 3 player ports. On with the first player plug. Second player one just kind of sits there. And I've got 1 receiver plugged in here, which should be talking to this receiver. So we're going to set the camera back up here. And I have the controller plugged into the one that is on right now. And I have this one turned off. As you can see, I'm pressing controller, nothing's happening. So I'm going to power this on, which should mean that something should happen. Maybe. Yeah, controller, turbo. Don't want that on. Still got nothing. Let's see. Gotta remember that this is a little sensitive. Come on. There you go. Make sure turbo is not. Oh. Alright, so I'm controlling 1 player, which means to me that it's only connecting to 1 of these controllers. Let me make sure this is on. Turbo's off. All of these receivers are locked in here. Interestingly, I can see when I press the button that the receiver's inside. Right here, see if I can get a shot of it. So they blink every once in a while, but when I press the button, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they do react. So I'm hitting that receiver. For some reason, that signal is not getting transferred to the main system. Let me fix my dang camera again. Stupid thing. Alright, let's try turning this off. Turn it back on. Try resetting the system. Move this a little closer. Interesting. I've got nothing coming through there now. Which really shouldn't make a difference how many I have in there. Alright, we're going to take this out and make sure that I can at least do single player. Yep, single player, line of sight, we're good. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure that doesn't connect there. And we're going to try to position this a little differently. Man, that's not getting anything. Let's try resetting it one more time. Interesting. Alright, let's try taking one of these out. I know for a fact this worked before. I'm plugged into one. I'll try taking the second one out. That is odd. The relay's not working at all anymore. Very strange. Very strange indeed. Alright, you know what? Time to do A little bit better test here. Now that might be part of the problem. My connection on this one isn't working. Helps if you have a good test. Yep, okay. You know what? We'll be back. I'm going to do some troubleshooting here. Well, we're back, and I'm not entirely sure what is going on with that one transmitter, but I will say what I've determined is that a power light does not a functioning receiver or transmitter make. So, not really sure what's going on with that. It's entirely possible that I'm frying it out doing all this crazy relay action, but I don't think that's the case. I think the batteries would just die quicker, but we'll see. Oh boy, alright. We're going to try resetting this again. Okay, so first test, turn off the receiving transmitter. I'm hitting start. Game's not responding. Power this on. Oh. I'll restart that again. Start. Now, I'm only getting player 1 and 2. Let's see. I actually didn't do turbo there. Player 1, no turbo there. Player 1, player 1, player 1. I did 1, 2, and 3. Should be getting 3. Interesting. Try powering this off and on again. I'm still only able to get player 1 and 2. Oh, no. Interesting. Alright, well, I guess that was definitely a good test. We're still over wireless, over the with the transmitters and the receivers, even though I am seeing those lights active on all of them in the system, in here. Watch if I press left, right. They all blink identically. So it's receiving the signal, but for whatever reason, it's not able to send it all. So it could be that I'm drawing too much power with the receivers and trying to transmit the signal, and it's just too much to send all of those signals at the same time. Could be there's just a ton of interference going on too. I'm not entirely sure. But at least we were able to prove that with a 4-score and a few transmitters, with it 1 transmitter, 1 4-score, and 4 receivers, you can play Gauntlet 2 by yourself, all 4 players. So I think that's pretty cool. I definitely had fun with this series, doing these experiments. If you have any more, feel free to throw them in the comments. The other thing that I'd like to do a similar experiment with is these the Sega Genesis receivers. I think that in similar style, if I de-shell these, I should be able to play Gauntlet 4 in a similar fashion. I've got one of the Sega Team Player, I think is what it's called, that lets you play four players on a Sega Genesis. I get that here. That's this right here. So let's play 4-player. You can do a few different things, a few different settings with those. Plug them into both. But I figure if I disassemble, interestingly enough, I can actually plug this into one side. So you can play remotely 1 and 2. Even with this, I don't know why you would. But if I de-shell these, I should be able to plug player 1, player 1, player 1, player 1 into all of those and control all 4 players on Gauntlet 4 on a Sega Genesis. So that'll be, I need to get my hands on a couple more receivers in order to do that. But that'll be an experiment for another time. Till then, thanks for watching.